John, I'm watching you and reading you in the Sunday Times right now at the moment, because you've written a piece about Harry Kane at Spurs, and you think there's going to be quite a significant development in relation to Kane. Just tell us more. What's your understanding?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Darren. I think despite reports over the last couple of weeks, it's actually moving towards Harry Kane staying at Tottenham. I think it's increasingly likely. Spurs are digging in on this one. The starting point is they don't want to lose their best player, their talisman, and their dream would be to keep him for the rest of his career. But if he is ever going to leave, it would not be late in a transfer window, is my understanding, in terms of their position. They feel that Manchester City have left things rather too late in this one to really come back to the table, having had an initial bid of £100 million rejected back in June. And that he's their player. They've got him till 2024. Why accept a deal now? It would be really hard to replace him. There wouldn't be enough time. And there's a confidence that Harry, being a professional, can be turned around and can be put in the right direction and get a good season out of him. And then maybe club and player can reassess and see where they are next season when he'll have 2 years left on his contract.
John, the most significant line in your piece that I've been reading, had a highlighter pen all over it, is that you say that even if City were to pay the reported £160 million that Daniel Levy is said to be demanding, Spurs still wouldn't sell. That really did strike me. What do you mean by that?
Oh, there's 17 days left before the window closes. I mean, how you replace Harry Kane is a complete headache, even if you sell him on the first day of the transfer window. With this amount of time left, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to sell now. But that would only even be if Manchester City met that valuation, and there haven't been any real negotiations on price since that bid of 100 million. Spurs have been steadfast that they don't want to sell. There's a bit of a bemusement at the club, actually, when Pep Guardiola said a couple of weeks ago that the ball was in Spurs' court, because from Spurs' point of view, he's their best player. They don't want to lose him. They've rejected a bid. So, what is there for them to consider? And you can't, I've been around enough transfers to know that you can never say never. But my feeling is that even if City came back with that mega price, Spurs would be steadfast, just because Harry Kane is almost priceless to them. But he could not be replaced at this short notice and with only 2 weeks left of the transfer window.
Jonathan, finally on Kane, there was talk about this gentleman's agreement that he had last summer to go this summer, right? Let's say he does stay, and it sounds like from what you're saying that very much favourites to stay at Tottenham now, Harry Kane will be. If he still wants to leave next summer, what can he do? Because if there was a gentleman's agreement, that hasn't been kept. Well,
I mean, the gentleman's agreement is a moot point, and I think Spurs would say something different. But if he stays another year, there's a precedent of Luka Modric, who Tottenham kept despite two very big bids from Chelsea back in 2011-12, I think it was, and then allowed him to leave the following year when they were able to get their ducks in a row and replace him with Moussa Dembele, which was a good fit. And to stay another season would give a bit of breathing space, allow the club and player to talk. I think the club's preference would be to try and actually persuade him, have a good season under Nuno and persuade him to actually stay. But if it became irrevocable, they would have had enough time to plan for life after him and perhaps manage a rather sort of neater exit. Because we're talking about one of the best players in their history, and does a player like that, is he allowed to leave at the end of a window in messy circumstances? I don't think so. I think they would want to manage the departure, if it did happen, a little bit better than that.
Yeah, and Jonathan, you're right. He is a Tottenham player, so it is up to them.